Bonjour Watcher, this is Johnny Mega 45. Welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. In last episode, we have started a motorcycle because we are going outside. I believe we are going to visit Yuuji's master's grave in the last episode, so let's read. Tank Bug says the CDI is on the freeze. Capacitor discharge ignition, or CDI for short, is a generic term for an electronic device that controls the ignition of an engine. While the extremely simple mechanical parts of a typical motorcycle engine, it stands out as a comparatively advanced piece of electronics. Because of that complexity, it's not uncommon for it to malfunction, especially given its position in a rough environment of high heat and constant vibration. Sometimes it will abruptly stop working entirely. Damn it, where the CDI? Peering along the tank, I find the ignition coil and follow it along the harness. No, that's the turn signal relay, and this is the headlight booster relay. Okay, what's this thing? The fuse box? The fuse is a blow. Damn it, it's hot. A black puddle of sweat forms on the ground beside me as I squat next to the bike. CDI, where the damn CDI? After a good 10 minutes of groping along the harness, sorry, I find out there's an inconspicuous side cover just below the seat on the left side. After the moment, I discover a square black object sitting next to the regulatory rectifier. Found it, there you are, you little bastard. Carefully remove the cover connecting the CDI to the harness. I intentionally scrutinize the little black box, but there is no visual evidence of it being damaged. Then again, it's not exactly the sort of part you can reliably access by eyeballing. Reaching my thumb around behind the plastic cover, I gently rub the electronic guts of the unit through their protective coat of epoxy resin. When the CDI keeps your engine from starting, this will often be enough to bring it back to life. Of course, that really is just a temporary stopgap measure, not a resolution of a fundamental problem, but if it does get the engine fire again, that will confirm the CDI is responsible. Reattaching the freshly massaged piece of electronic to its coupler, I press down firmly on the kick pedal once more. I told you so, asshole. It really was the CDI. Hand over that 10. As I eventually sped off, some very glorified immediately falls unmanaged motorcycle, Obataro, spring easily back to life. He proceeded to run readily away underneath. I have to say though, this thing is pretty noisy. I'll take this sort of growly over high-pitched shrieky any day, but if I got this going and through past I elevator, to even if it's loud enough to get the kids going and cover their ears with their hands. Oh, I guess I had to start some skill moves or something, and I lost my quiet now. I just watch over the thing as it idles for a while, but the engine doesn't seem inclined to sputter off again. Where is Machina? Maybe the CDI itself was the issues. The contact with the couplers might just have been off. Temporarily stopping the engine, I check the oil and lights, then move on to test the in front and rear brakes. All good. When I finally get around to look at the air pressure of the tires, are you serious? You got a damn fly. Am I going to have to change the tire in this absurd heat? Cut me a damn break already. Suddenly I laid my head back and gazed into the sky. Within seconds I can feel the tips of my nose scorching under the blazing sun. I slowly tend to just say screw it, but after getting all the effort given, I don't know if my trade will be serious getting its own right. This right here might take some time. But today, excuse to no one in particular, I decided to temporarily return to my door and rehydrate myself. For a moment, I seriously tend to take the wheel entirely and lug it back to my bathroom to patch up. But fortunately, it hasn't proved to be anything quite that serious. When I start pumping air back to the tire, it inflates back up normally, and the packet on the bottom disappears completely in a matter of minutes. Why is it that two tires always manage to lose air just sitting in a parking lot? Why this minor mystery stacks at me somewhat. By the time 11 rolls around, we successfully ready everything we need for our trip. Alright, are all preparations for departure complete?
お弁当よーし、携帯電話の充電よーし、飲料水確保よーし、健康保険証持参よーし、出発準備すべてよろーし。
Nice. The time is currently 11 hours, 100 hours. We are beginning the operations. All personnel embark. Steadily, Bobataro like a boy generally swinging onto the war horse. I deposit Makinas in the tandem seat. Make sure she's got a firm grip on my wrist. Then kick the bike into first gear with the tip of my left foot and slowly squeeze the clutch lever to the handle. Looks like it's going to be another hot one. You did put on sunscreen, right? Yeah, it's time. Let's do this, Makina-chan. Hug Daddy very strongly. As you get to leisurely putting along the coastal road in the direction of Yamanashi Prefecture, Makina and I talked through the two-way FM radios we use for our sniping games. Naturally, I hooked up the drop mic for hand-free operation. Papa, you think I'm what kind of an idiot who start rolling around on the bike like this? If a tire loses a little air, your levels will drag along the low center of gravity instance, but this is ridiculous. I never driven a motorcycle this bizarrely low to the ground before, but just leisurely gliding along in the wake of the car ahead doesn't feel half bad. Let's say I can't help thinking overall lack of power, and weak maneuvering is going to be an issue once we get on those steep mountain roads. Well, let's just take it slowly and easily. You're all not driver license yourself, Makina. Why don't you take the test? What a total hypocrite. Well, I guess I can sort of understand how she feels. It's easy to picture Makina hopping on walk on Sunday night, mooking and I got off to play totally off into the distance, at which point you'll be sitting at the phone fighting your nails waiting for call for some hospital or office. When you snatch away some people try to tell them it's dangerous, they'll go to any lengths to play with behind your back. Personally, I feel like it's better to just let them learn under your strict supervision, but maybe that's those 10-on infused way to look at it. Let's see, the way you balance, turn and stop are all pretty similar to the bicycle, so I don't think it'll be impossible for you to learn. But like Amane, you are short and have stubby legs, might be a little tricky for you to get the hang of it right now. For starters, let's stick to practicing on your bicycle. Maybe next time we can try something. Just get it in the parking lot at school. It's an ideal game for learning the most fundamental part of operating a two-wheel vehicle, shifting your body weight while controlling the contact patch and load on your tires. You compete for the best time to an obstacle course. You'll fall off constantly until you get used to it, you know? I know I did. When I was 14 or so, I think, drove around on a private land in the mountains where I was living with my master. Right, she started me off by making me climb onto this full-size dirt bike she used to ride, and my legs were even close to reaching the ground. So I had to reach and squeeze on the clutch with one foot on the gear shift, then swing up onto the seat only after the thing started moving. Getting it started was a big victory, but stopping was just as much of a pain. I had a choice between decelerating as much as possible before jumping onto my bank, or stop myself in the middle foot against some stone or stream. Looking back right now, it's really impressive that I managed to ride the thing at all. I've been riding a bicycle for a long time, so I don't remember being particularly scared. After I was trying to pull any defying stunt, compared to the terror I experienced previously, it probably didn't even register. Come to think of it, I didn't feel particularly afraid the first time I looked at my master's face in the field either. Even after finishing the job, returning home and completing my report, when she asked, "Were you scared?" I always answered, "No, hell, it almost feel like I had fun." But when night came, then there was nothing left to do but take a bath and go to sleep. I found myself holding my dick over the toilet bar, completely unable to piss. A small twitch of doubt ran through me, and I finally noticed that my hands were shaking. As the tension finally drained out of me like a string removed from a bow, I was seized by terror so intense I thought I might never stop shaking. I casually, almost thoughtlessly, slipping by a situation where one wrong step could mean death. Mixed in with the fear was a wave of thankfulness for my sheer dumb luck. I was fortunately able to guide my very well, fall differently next time. With that thought, the shaking grew stronger even now. I can vividly remember the terror I felt that night. But after I experienced that fear again and again, I guess you could say that I obtained the ability to control those feelings. Maybe I just gained a nose for danger, and that instinct to avoid it. When you get right down to it, I think it might just be a matter of experience and caution. Put enough hours to develop the foresight to see trouble coming ahead of time, and you'll be completely fine. You had greater strengths when you start thinking I'm on top of my game today. Bring it on, basically don't get to carry away or you end up taking a fall. That pretty much sums up riding a motorcycle. I already explained this with a bicycle last time, but any vehicle safe enough as long as you stay away of your surroundings and give yourself a generous margin of error.
なるほど。つまり通常5割、急いで7割ってやつな。怖いと感じた時はすでに8割を超えている。怖いと感じる一歩手前を意識するのがベストな。
Yeah, you got the idea. Incidentally, right now I'm going at about half my baseline pace.
今何キロ出てるの？
Don't know how much I can trust a millimeter wage onto a different company bike, but roughly 50 kilometers per hour.
なるほど。もうちょい速くてもいいかなってスピードの一歩手前なのよさ。
Given this speed and following distance, even if the guy in front of us spills hot coffees on his pants and smashes into the guardrail, we wouldn't have any problem dealing with the situation.
安全が一番速いってそういうことな。やっぱ私も免許取ろうかな。
What is this like driving motorcycles anyway? Post inspection by Michael, I feel the cost to consider. Do you remember the first time you rode a bicycle? For my class, it was practically just the other day, so I'm sure she remembers vividly. The feelings inspired might not have even faded completely. On the day you learned to ride a bicycle, the day you pedal alone down an unfamiliar road, for the first time, did it feel like the world had suddenly grown larger for you around you? This was an endless road that can't take you anywhere at all, and a bicycle could carry you much further than your little legs. The first day, did you ask yourself just how far can I go? The first day I rode a motorcycle, the open question was to replace with something that feels like an answer I can go wherever the hell I want. That's what a motorcycle is. Do you understand what I'm saying?
わかんねえ。もうちっと簡単な説明して。
I don't know. You can go where you want, stop where you want, even just ride along with no destination at all if you want. That's what a motorcycle is.
それは簡略しすぎてかえってわかりにくいのよさ。
I got some my watch to discover it's already 1 in the afternoon. As if on cue, my navigator complained about her grumbly stomach, so I put over a random suitable spot and laid out our plastic picnic sheets for late lunch. Lunch boxes Makina prepares were, as she had declared earlier, picked primarily with freshly baked cinnamon rolls and pumpkin bread. According to Makina, making these required comparatively little effort on her part, but as the bread machine took care of the primary fermentation, but that said the taste is nothing as scoffed. The girls claimed that anyone with a bread maker and a functional brain could achieve such results. I started to move to learn that we are living in an era where even amateurs can produce bread of this caliber, but at the same time, I feel as though I've got a glimpse of dark clouds gathering on the horizon for the bakery industry.
ね、パパ、あそこにいっぱい生えてる背の低い木はブドウの木？
Okay, first of all, grapes grows on vines. Secondly, those are mulberry trees.
クワ？クワっつうのはブドウの仲間？
Not that I know of it. Why are you so caught on the grapes anyway?
だって山梨だよ。
Okay, try not to talk about true Yamashin. Got nothing but grades to offer the world. The good people of Kosu will give you a swift bar boot to the rear.
なんでだよ？じゃあブドウ以外何があんのよさ。
Peaches?
パパこそ甲州人にぶっ飛ばされんぞ。
I think the Koshu people might end up going for you first. Wait, no, there's also a hot toast food and those rich rice cakes with black honey and romance with the valley, okay?
別に舐めちゃいないし、ブドウも桃も大好きなのよ。岡山とキャラかぶってんけどな。
Did you really have to say that last part? Such a cheeky little bastard. Who you get that two-face from?
多分パパに似たんだと思うんだぜ。
Oh right, well anyway, that's a mulberry tree. Good for your full sleep morning.
また知らん言葉が出てきた。誰だよ、おかいこさん。
Wait, you don't know about the silkworm moths? You farm the larvae and make silks from their cocoons. The industry been forever, you know?
絹ってガの幼虫が作ってんの？
Yeah, it's a natural fiber. You didn't know that either?
クジラのヒゲからバイオリンの弓みたいな感じ？
Wrong on many levels, but the strange thing is, I can actually understand what you tried to say somehow.
ちょっと見てきていい？
Just looking is fine by me, but don't start plunking off roots. You gotta also put your hat on first.
わかってる。
The Slightly, Makina darts off into the blazing sun, flapping her outstretched arms like a bird as she rushes over towards the mulberry field. Thanks to her diminutive frame, she looks like a young child heading off to play. The girl shows interest in anything and everything she encounters. When she runs into something she doesn't understand, she immediately asks why. Even though I offer what answer I can from my own experience and knowledge when that fails me, waiting it over again. Sometimes hearing Makina's perspective leads me to new insights of my own. I guess this might be what people mean when they say teaching someone means learning from them in return. Come to think of it, it was my own instructor who told me that the person who taught me everything and made me want to learn in the first place, not a parent or a teacher. Kusakabe Asako, my master, the woman who single-handedly built me from nothing. For better or worse, I'm at least 80% of the person she made me. She found a web crawling along the bottom of the valley of despair, reaching down her hand and pulling it up into the world of human beings. For Asako picking me up might be an afterthought, an impulsive spur of the moment decision, not much than a whim. Even so, if I had a neighbor, I probably would be I am today. I would be giving our life outright for a long time ago. When Asako was there on that day, in that moment, she took me by the hand. Thanks to her, and the people around her primitively accepted aggressive, shaky head blunder. I'm standing here today. I'm still living, carrying the final words she left me in my heart. What's the point of keeping a piece of flesh like me alive? I want an answer to that question. That more than anything else is what keeps me going. What's up? Okay, hey, wait a second. What are you eating?
Huh? スイカだよ。ほら、あそこに農夫のおばあちゃんがいるじゃんね。あの人にもらったずら。
Did you say thanks to her? Okay, you put a finger in your mouth and started at the one when we let's real with 4 eyes. Did you please tell me you at least say thank you?
当たり前じゃんけ。ちゃんとお礼言ったずらよ。
Wait? She already picked up some weird snatch of cautious dialect just from talking with a local for a few minutes. The girl should have text quickly. No, maybe her brain's just pillable as a piece of beauty. I stand beside Makina and bow deeply thanks to the farmer. Alright then, seems like we are more than hydrated now. I think it's time we go back to the road.
Oh! ワニワニしとらんで、ちゃっちゃと行けし。
You know, your dialect's a little off there. Seems like the fierce artillery practicing today. When my ears began to pick up the air-shaking thunder of the guns in the distance, it feels like we are finally entered the Yamanashi I know. What the vehicles we pass on the roads, squad leaders, trucks, and high-mobility vehicles made kaiki grow increasingly common. At one point, I made eye contact with a commander sticking his head out of the cupola on the passing side 96 and have to restrain the impulse to salute. Have to say, Makina, for someone who supposedly shows shy around strangers, you are pretty sociable. Although it is Makina has firmly established a position as the shy guy at Miyama Academy, from what I see, this she seems somewhat exaggerated. In fact, just the other day, I witnessed her repeatedly sporting chestnut of some old couples on the bench outside a sweet shop in the shopping distance.
それじゃあまるで正常な判断能力を喪失した老人を対象にして文字通り私服を肥やす悪人みたいなのよさ。
Where he did in fact proceed to munch away at the chestnut with a dopey look on the blissful on your face. There might be some stalking and snuffling involved. But I gotta say this, I think this is a date part right now. Yeah, a date between Yuuji and Makina. Yeah, nothing else. Even though Makina do not regard this as a date.
そりゃ食ってたよ。食ってたけれども、だって食べろって聞かれたからうんって言っただけなのよさ。別にこっちから要求を提示したわけじゃないのよ。
Right, so my question is, how exactly are you supposed to be shy again?
もう、私だって別に誰でも声かけるわけじゃないのよ。ちゃんと人を選んでるっていうか。
Come to think of it, it does seem like you're always targeting kind looking older people.
だからその言い方おかしくない？まあ確かにそうなんだけれども。
So I guess elderly people doesn't seem so scary, is that it?
怖くないというか、馴染み深いというか。私はほら、6年も病院にいたわけで、その間ずっと死にかけのじいさま連中に相手をしてもらってたから、自
What? So what? Because she spent all the time surrounded by the Jesus, she never had a chance to pick up the 90s of interacting with people her age, making it awkward to approach them, I guess.
この世の中には2種類の老人がいます。これまでの人生であまたの三冠を噛み、物事に動じない穏やかな老成を手に入れた老人と、自分の経験してきたことが全てであり、その価値観や考えに反するものを悪と断じて恥じない頭の凝り固まった老人。人は前者を高校野と呼び、後者を老害というそうですが、何せ6年も病院にいたせいで、じじいの良し悪しを嗅ぎ分ける嗅覚には他の危険を許さないほどに卓越したものがあるとの自負があるのよさ。
I see.
じい臭さじゃパパも相当なもんなのよ。私がパパに懐いた理由だって、なんかじじむさい人だなって思ったのがきっかけだったしな。
Grandpa, but I do get you don't act much like a kid pretty frequently, but this is the first.
なんすんだろ、じじむさいっていうか、妙に落ち着いてるし、自分の中にピンと一歩ぶれない筋が通ってるっていうか、何？もし？若武者？なんかそんな風に感じたのよさ。
Now that you mention it, there was this one time David saw me repairing my tools on the weekends. Then you look like a Rodney making umbrella.
近い近い、なんかそんな感じ。
True enough, I never disliked jobs that calls for a steady accumulation of software effort. I can't say I was expecting a competitor to a master swordsman living an austerity of his handicrafts. About 2.5 hours advanced in our departure from the door. We had reached an area I know by sight, no longer even bothering to check the map. I noticed riding up familiar mountains roads was our destination. The path begins to narrow steadily. It's still paved, fortunately, but certainly steep enough to deserve the description of farm road. If I were to come in opposite directions, people will be able to pass each other by. That said, the odds of us running into traffic are pretty much zero. At this point, all we have ahead of us is one lonely cell phone tower and an iron gate guarding the entrance to an obscure national forest. The only people we could possibly run into up here will be maintenance workers for the telecom company, or tourists who took a few wrong turns, I suppose. Bobataro neighbors up the final stretch of road, straining to carry his two passengers up to 15-degree slope. His tempers clutch beneath us in a constant chorus of complaint. And finally, underpassing only 3 seats of faded signboards reading authorized personnel only beyond this point, set some 100 meters apart, the iron gate we are looking for comes to interview. We are here, Makina.
よいしょっと。
Makina spreads her legs wide over to push herself over the tandem seat, lowering herself to the ground in a less than refined fashion.
ケツが痛い。血が出てっかも。
The girl rocks her tenderly and her through her skirt, twirling around like a dog chasing its own tail. Turning my back on her, I insert my keys into the padlocks on the heavy iron gate.
ここがパパの山？
Well, it's technically the country's mountain. My master and I live in a cabin up here, managing the land.
山小屋はどこ？見えないけど。
There's this cabin. Let's see, this is about a 30-minute walk from here.
歩くの？
Yeah. I like to ride up there myself, but I don't think Bobataro here will handle a rocky slope like this too well. Beyond the open yet, a coarse gravel road continues into the mountain, so slanting sharply upwards at a good 30 degrees or so. Unless you are driving a four-wheel jeep or dirt bike with off-road tires, getting a vehicle up this will be pretty tricky. Nowadays, Bobataro is a road bike poorly suited to mountain trails to begin with. And given the ridiculous slow rider remodeling, it clearly gets badly stuck in the dirt before climbing 10 meters.
もしかしてこんな急な坂道を30分も登るの？
No, it's only speed by the entrance. After 30 minutes of slopes, the slopes gets a lot more gentle.
仕方がない。軽いレジャー感覚で登るのよさ。
Nice little leisure hike. I kill Bobataro's engine and slam Akina's rucksacks over my left shoulders, leaving our friend sitting in first gear in the middle of the road. The two of us step past the gate. While they are in the forest, things haven't changed much in my absence. From the mountain, as always, the air thick with the lusty cries of cicadas, but there is no sign of human presence. Even with the sweating insects, the only sounds are crunching of our feet against the gravel and grease. The machina's labor breathing growing quicker and louder with every minute. You're alright?
平気。まだ大丈夫。
Maybe I can be surprisingly stubborn at times like this. Probably I tend to demonstrate she's not a helpless weakling who needs to be babied constantly. They have to be sure to keep an eye on her though, or she might end up collapsing to the ground and falling asleep on the spot.
ねえ、パパ、聞いてもいい？
About what?
これからお墓参りする人、パパの師匠ってどんな人？
Well, let's see. Where do I begin? Come to think of it, although I had brought Asako up numerous times, I don't remember getting into the details. I mean, nobody really seems that interested. No, I guess it was just too awkward to ask. Now, as the name was Kusakabe Asako. We first met when I was 12 or 13 or so. She was a lot older than me, obviously. I had lost my entire family a while before this. At the time, a friend of my dad had taken me in, but well, that family friend was what you call a bad guy, the kind of man who slips through the cracks in the law, profiting off misery and tearing money away from soft-hearted people. The bad guy in question made some enemies on the shadier side of our government. Bit off a little more than he could chew, they decided to bring their hammer down. At the smallest of force that invaded the villain's land, well mentioned and surprising to the blink of my eyes was laced by my master, Kusakabe Asako.
つまり、子供の頃のパパを悪者から救い出してくれたのがその師匠なのね。
Yeah, that's the basic outline.
それからはずっと師匠と一緒にここで暮らしたの？
Not constantly. We lived here for the first year or so, but I ended up getting shipped off to America fairly soon because of some circumstances with Asako's employer.
カリフォルニアのサンディエゴな。その後はバージニアのクアンティコで結局また日本に帰ってきたのよね。
That's right, and in between all that, I lived with Asako. She's the one who helped me find the strength I needed to live.
つまり今の私にとってのパパみたいに、パパにとっては師匠はママみたいなものだったのね。
Huh, don't think mommy quite covered it. If I had characterized the woman, I'd say she was my I do say she was my master. But in the sense that she's raised a childish, not bad, like into a reasonable competent man, I guess you could say she was something like a mother. Kusakabe Asako was the only person I ever called master, and the only person I ever will. I was nothing but a filthy little cockroach she happened to carry home from her job one night. We were related. She had no obligation to do anything but flush me down the toilet, and instead she spent the rest of her life raising me. The woman was a force of nature, infallible and unshakable. Even if she's not, Kusakabe Asako will always be the strongest woman in the world to me. Just as I estimated, after about 13 minutes of trudging up the mountain, the forest around us begins to thin, and the rough dirt trail grows gentler in slope. As we reach an even plot of land that seems to have been cut into neatly out of a natural plateau, a single log cabin comes into view beyond a chained-up metal gate. Alright, Makina, we are here.
疲れた。暑くて死ぬ。ここがパパの実家？
Grew up in, well, I guess you could say that, yeah, this is the house where I was raised. It's only been 2 months or so since I left, but the cabin is already under siege by thick wall grasses. The sight inspires a small twinge of melancholy. I attempt to start attacking those weeds right away, but I guess we should go in and rest for a while first.
はあね、女の子を家に連れ込んで何する気？ふふ。
Don't he me, kid. Now I have to call up Amane and give her yet another scolding. Even by keyring from the carabine I've been using to fasten it to my belt, I select an old-fashioned key with a dull golden color, pushing it to the equally old-fashioned keyhole onto the oil-finished teak wood door, and give it one rotation to the left. The interior of the cabin naturally now hasn't changed at all in the months since I saw it last. If I have dialect, I pretty copy the Jamie cake up that melodramatic habit of dropping nearby, called a solitary drink in memory of the departed. But although she is surprisingly averse to cleaning for someone with such an anal personality, it seems she wasn't quite lazy enough to leave her crumpled cans and potato chips wrappers lying around the place.
ここがパパの育ったお家か。なんていうか、思ってたより物が多いのね。ちゃんとテレビもあるし。
Well, it's not like I was living on my own. Only partially paying attention to the conversation, I wandered off to the fridge and reached for the handle. Still cold, guess electricity is still flowing. Want something to drink? Might be a hasty offer. Nothing but beer and smoked cheese, eh? Naturally enough, I emptied out the fridge before leaving this cabin behind. What little we have is currently just left over for JP's visit. Other than the booze and snacks, there are also 3 bottles of my favorite ice drops sitting on the lower shelf. Probably the woman sitting at the top, full gestures, in case I decide to return at some point. I retrieve one bottle of ice drops from the fridge and glance it over at Makina. Hey Makina! Catch.
何これ？目薬？
The sniper's eye are their lives. Give that stuff a try. If you apply some to both eyes 30 minutes before shooting and stretch your ocular muscle, your focus speed change pretty dramatically.
どれどれ？
Gazing curiously at the bottles in the air, Makina carefully breaks the seal, then lays her head back with mouth slightly ajar to apply the drop. 1 drop per eyes is plenty, no need to blink too much either. Give it a second, then start slowly moving your eyes in figure 8s. As her eyes begin to move back and forth underneath her lids, Makina upper body sway along with them. Slowly open your eyes, alternate between looking at something nearby and something far away helps get you focused properly.
手元を見て、遠くを見る。
That's all there is to it. Just repeat this 4 times a day, morning, noon, evening, and before you go to bed. You still listening?
ね、パパ。あの写真って。
Makina's eyes, after focusing on the distant objects, had stopped darting back and forth. She stared at the middle of a small bookshelf where a single photo of Asako and me as a kid stands in a frame. When I left this cabin behind, I deliberately flipped it face down in an attempt at symbolic closures, but now it's been returned to its original position. Damn it, Jebby, mind your own business.
あの写真の人が師匠の人？
Yeah, that's right. I reach out and take the frame from the bookshelf. This is the one and only photograph Asako made in the world. It was taken not long after she first took me in, the day she dragged me off to the zoo in Ueno at what seems like a win. Not really a photography I want to show off, but I pass over the frame to Makina, who proceeded to intently contemplate the photos inside. Asako closed at the glamour eyebrows, furrowed in clear irritation. At her side, a younger me stares coolly at nothing in particular, eyes clouded but glittering with a venomous sheen. I got a plenty awful look on my face, right? At the times, I was just completely empty, didn't give a damn about anything or anyone, pretty much just a dead kid that forgot to stop breathing. I guess Asako got so fed up watching me that she decided to try her hands at babysitting. Not exactly her field of expertise, you understand?
何があったの？
It's a long story, but the abbreviated version is that my whole family died and I was deeply involved in their death. I was responsible, so I couldn't just push the blame on someone else. That self-loathing was probably just too much for me to deal with. Wrap myself up in a shell instead.
そっか。
But thanks to Asako, I managed to get back on my feet somehow. She gave me, if not a reason to live, at least an excuse not to die. I might say almost too vigorously these days, but if I hadn't met Asako, if Asako had taken me, I might as well have died a long time ago.
命の恩人？
Yeah, then she went and died before I had the chance to repay the debt. Unbelievable, right?
悲しいね。
That's not how I felt actually about it. Actually, I didn't really mourn when Asako passed. I've been prepared for the possibility she might die at any time, but for some reason, I still had a hard time believing she was actually gone. Guess that's one of the little part of me that could accept that monster of a woman was really dead. If there was one word to describe Asako, it was ridiculous. Not the sheer of common sense in the body. She was the bull of a woman, and the world was her personality in China stock. And to me, she was something like a god or a devil, maybe both.
悪鬼とか神とか、なんかとにかくすごい人だったのね。
Okay, so it actually happened when the same day that picture was taken. I was just sitting around wondering in self-hatred, holding a private pity party. Honestly, as if that was going to up for anything. All of a sudden, Asako grabbed me by hand and dragged me off to the zoo. She showed me all these animals I'd never seen before: elephants, giraffes, zebras, the whole day, probably hoping to get at least some minor signs of interest out of me. But when I was sitting there acting like a brat man, I was actually a brat, but still, I cannot sat inside that chair, not even twitching an eyebrow at anything she showed me. And I guess the attitude got Asako pretty irritable after a while. So that two of us are just standing there, staring at the lions in complete silence. When all of a sudden this one big guy rolls out and tries to scare us all with a giant rope. And the next thing I know, Asako's going, shut the hell up, don't roll me, asshole, I will fucking kill you. So yeah, she was the sort of person who get into the shouting concert with the king of the beast, and Wings, woman was nuts. I mean, opponent was locked in the cage, anyone could yell at him if they wanted to. But when Asako screamed in his face, the animal actually flinched, then just back out away, so you should see the look on his face. So there was, I was gagging at her with a mind. I was thinking this woman is a complete lunatic when I noticed I was smiling. Yes, that was the moment when I started slowly regaining halfway normal emotions.
そのおかげで私もパパと出会えたんだから私も感謝するべきだよね
Well, I don't know about that. Who says meeting me was really a good thing? I don't know for sure yet, don't you think?
そうかもしんないけどさでも少なくとも私の人生に一番大きく影響しているのってパパなんじゃないかな
When you put it like that, I feel a little weight on my shoulders. Yeah, Asako, I feel the same way as Makina. I remember what you said to me just before you died. Sorry, Yuuji, you ran my big mouth about teaching you how to live, but trying you do an ugly job in the shadows was the best I could imagine. Maybe so, but I'm still grateful to you. Because even now, your words are what kept me stumbling forward. Without intending to do so, I end up on my fairly lengthy digression about my past. More many mixed emotions, a small flash of embarrassment rose to the surface. In the effort to hide this, I erupted declared break times over and then laid Makina around to shade out back. Although we always call it a shed, the building itself is impressive. Not the difference from the main cabinet inside. It's a storehouse packed full of the tools and provisions necessary to live up here. I put Makina along into the storehouse seeking out weapons in which to confront the well-entranced hordes of weeds that have flourished in the summer heat. Specifically, we retrieved a few hand scythes and spades, and old lawnmowers and a pair of straw hats hanging from nails on the wall. A good straw hat with a white brim is indispensable for weeding under the blazing sun. I put on the hat Asako used to wear when she was alive, then dropped the smaller one I brought as a child onto Makina's head. I want to say, it takes us another 5 minutes to climb out the mountains to reach Asako's village. Not far from the summit, a grey stone stands in a spot affordable and unbroken view of the basin below. While the location may be good, the grey stone itself is hardly worth of the name. It's just a huge, fairly decent looking rock picked up at random from the woods, then half buried in the ground to keep it erect. In fact, the rock surface of the stone doesn't even have her name. She said into it, it's a crop marker and nothing else. Even so, there's no doubt that Asako's remains are resting here. I was the one who took the ashes from the funeral homes and buried them here, and I was the one who raised the gravestone above them. When it came to religion, Asako's official position was no policy. She used to have joke about it. If I crouch, just bury me whatever. I won't compare and blunt to burn me up first. You can just put a popsicle stick in the ground for the gravestone. That could this half-assed instruction to work out after Asako daily arranged for a cremation that includes leave the rest entirely to me. I was a complete loss for a while, but in the end decided to make a mountain where we do live together her final resting place. Nobody criticized that choice. Remote and lonely as it might seem. Asako never had a family to begin with, and a very strange Debbie had no complaints about my decisions. But since I was the one who chose it, the duty to maintain it is also rest with me. Starting the engine of the lawnmower as I push up here from the shed, I have Makina hang back while I mow down the weeds in one sweep. When that's done, I switch to my spade and quietly begin digging away at their stubborn roots. Makina follows behind as I steadily work my way around the clearing as I hack down the weeds and pull them out of the earth, pick them up and collect them in a heavy-duty trash bag. The ridiculously hard, sturdy and monotonous works are a fun job in any way, shape or form, so Makina holds out surprisingly well, not complaining even once as we fight our way through the overgrown wild grasses. We keep it up for maybe 2 hours, covering in sweat and grins. It feels even longer than that. By the time I finally sit down to stretch out my ankles and having fully liberated Asako's gravestone from the summer winds that had nearly engulfed it, we feel empty of our 7 liters trash bag to the brim. Well, guess that's good enough. I told her this my time for it up to the night. They turned around to look Makina in her dirt smear faces. Look at the girls fighting her blower things with something uncertain in her eyes. I realized I've been hacking away at the weeds in the total silence all this time. She may have been stirred along beside me in an attempt to be considerate. Slightly touch, I speak to her in the gentleness, not of voice I can manage. You're tired, right? Let's call it a day. taking the towels I wrapped around my neck for protection against the eye with from my face. Apparently, understanding from the guest that I finished this simple greeting to my departed prime machina's foreman, Ken's face loosened to a droopy, ticklish smile. By the time the colors of evening filled the sky, we put away our tools and returned to the grave. I light a bundle of wooden chopsticks, resting on the place from the cabin's kitchen, a small welcome fire for Asako's spirits. Asako loved her drink. I also brought a can of beer from the fridge. Popping open, I set it up down on top of the gravestone and let the content pour out. The tin fluttered the flame and its collar swirled out the signal because the beer is the bait to make sure she doesn't hesitate to drop by. I closed my eye and pressed the hands. A moment later, I can hear Makina do the same. Hey Asako, I still trying to my stories high around, trying to figure out why you kept me alive. No luck on that front. But even so, I think there are a few things I'm starting to understand little by little. The things I can do, the things I can do, the things I have to do, and the things I want to do. Tell me something, Asako. Was this how it was for you as well? Did it start off just as a whim, taking me in like that? Even so, did the small presence at your side end up becoming your reason to live? I'm starting to feel like I can understand now. Not that it's that complicated really, you just saw a face one day and somehow you just vaguely knew it. It was one thing in the world you needed to protect, and I'm right? Am I right? All of a sudden, you are telling yourself, now I get it. Maybe I've been living all this time so that I could be here for this, to protect this one thing. This is Irisu Makina. I spun out loud to the wavering flame, introduced Makina to Asako's grave. See, look at that, I have found something I want to protect as well. Just as you had your doubts back then, I don't know yet if I'm making the right decisions, and I understand that things never go as smoothly as planned. I'm in the night currently playing the roles of mommy and daddy, probably do possess broader experience and knowledge than Makina, and we like to think that we understand her to some degree, but even so I can't say with any confidence that the well-intentioned advice we give her is necessarily worthwhile. In separating the right from the wrong, there is only one decision that won't lead to regret, the one Makina makes herself. Right now she says she wants to be a baker or a sniper, but whatever road she chose to follow, the decision ultimately has to be up to her. You told me something about this once, right? If you want to choose the better path, listen carefully to the people who walk the trail before you, as many of them as you can find. Fortunately, Makina is still very young. She will have the chance to hear many people's thoughts, and I think she should actively seek them out. There's a limit to the amount of information any one human being can directly obtain. Don't get caught up with the things in front of your nose. Keep trying for the big picture perspective, and we won't go wrong too often. Right, Asako? Hey Makina, want to say a little something to Asako as well? Still clenching her hands together and keeping her eyes shut, Makina quietly opened her mouth to speak. If it wasn't for you, I don't think Papa and I would have made, so thank you. Makina softly murmurs the words hits me harder than I expected. Asako, you moved on and left me behind. You did enough. You accomplished the job you were doing here. That's why you were allowed to die. I haven't earned that right yet, but I will get that someday. I know I will. Think you can wait for me until then? The gravestone offers no reply to my silent question. I know perfectly well that this entire ceremony is nothing but a way to those left behind to find something like comfort. I can still feel heat spreading behind my eyelid. Alright, I'm hungry too. Want to eat? End the episode here, my friend. Thank you for watching my video. My video is just for fun. Don't take heart, brothers and sisters. Magic word time. Adios and famosa. Oh, Seed of the World 3. 9.